Hey y'all, thank you very much for tuning in today. Hope you guys had the most excellent day today. So today we're going way back in time, way back to the early 2000s to tell you a story about how I found the furry fandom. So today I want to tell you guys a story about how I found the furry fandom, because I did find it quite late in my life. I wasn't a teenager at the time. So we're going to go way back in time now to about 2004, 2005-ish. When I was a lot younger and a lot thinner and a lot more athletic, and I was actually playing paintball and refereeing it at the time at a local paintball site. And let me tell you now, right, back then, anything paintball related, I was all over. I was obsessed with paintball back in about 2005, 2006-ish. And one of the things I did was I used to search for paintball websites, and I encountered this most excellent webcomic called The Whiteboard. Now, The Whiteboard was a paintball related webcomic, but all of the characters were anthropomorphic animals. The main character was a polar bear. There was his raccoon friend, there was a fox, there was another fox but hotter, there was a snow leopard, there was all sorts of anthropomorphic characters. Now, this comic wasn't written by a furry. Doc is not a furry as far as I can tell, but he was aware of the furry fandom, he just wasn't part of it. Now, I stumbled across this webcomic when I was about, 20. Madly into paintball, saw this paintball related comic and thought this thing is possibly the best thing since sliced bread. So naturally I start reading it. I read through it about 2 or 3 times. I buy a whole bunch of the merch, and I see that there is a old forum, not like Facebook or anything like that, but kind of did the same thing where people would connect. I think they still exist today, I don't know. And I went on there and I got to know the guys on there. And then one day I saw them talking about furries. And I'm like, what the heck are furries? So I went into the thread, I started reading what everyone was saying. And a lot of them were, mocking furries, but a few of them were furries apparently. And so I decided to Google furries. Now, back in 2005, Google and the internet was like the Wild West. The one thing you didn't do was Google furries back then and hit images, because let me tell you, what I saw still haunts me to this day. So after that one fateful Google search that probably changed the fate of my life as we know it, I went and hid under the bed for the next 6 months because what I saw terrified me. But eventually, when I crawled out and had a look around and saw the world hadn't ended, I went back onto the internet and I did a little bit more searching about furries, a little bit more investigating. Found the old VCL website. So eventually I did make myself a persona based on one of the characters from the whiteboard. I was a fox and I wore my hat in the same way in real life. So, that's what I did. I became a fox, but I decided to make myself a little bit different and edgy. So I reversed the colours. I was black and red and it's so edgy. And I hung around on websites and chilled with other furries. And eventually I decided I was going to go meet some furries. Now, my thought was the best place to meet furries was at a furry convention. I didn't realise there was fur meets at the time. So I had a bit of spare cash at the time, so I'd buy a flight over to America, buy a ticket for Anthrocon, and off I go to visit Anthrocon to meet furries, hoping that there might be a couple of furries there that, might be from the UK. And hey, what do you know? It was a success. I met thousands of furries, so many from the UK as well. It was absolutely epic. I had a wonderful time at Anthrocon, and while I was there, I learned that there were actually fur meets in the UK. In fact, there was one in my hometown of Cardiff. So, after going home, I figure I'm gonna go to one of these local fur meets. And off I go to a local fur meet, and I'm standing there just kind of chilling, waiting for everyone to turn up, and I noticed that more than a few of them were kind of giving me odd glances, like they were afraid of me, like somehow I was some sort of terrifying presence. Now, I am not in the slightest bit terrifying. Let me just put that out there. I am, quite nice and chill, but these people seem to be, afraid of me, and I'm like, what's going on. So I figure, I'm gonna ask one of these furries what's going on. And this dude turns to me and he's like, well, see, a couple of weeks ago, my group went paintballing, and you were our referee, and you shouted at us a lot, and were really angry, and you forced one of our people's goggles back onto their heads. And I'm stood there like, wait a minute, did they come to my paintballs? Oh shit. Because when I'm at the paintball site, I'm not the chill, easygoing guy. I'm a very loud, very, very aggressive guy who has to keep people's goggles on their faces to avoid them being blinded. So it turns out I'd refed the entire fur meet a couple of weeks ago and scared the living bejesus out of them. So that's why they were afraid of me. So after a while, they kind of got used to me and we kind of got chill. And I got to know the Cardiff furry group. And I have to say, I haven't looked back since. I absolutely love being a furry. It's one thing that I am so glad I Googled back in 2005, even though it may have mentally scarred me a little bit. Furry really has changed my life and I'm so happy to be here. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a like, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. Don't forget, I have a Patreon. You will be seeing my patron names scrolling below, hopefully. And swing by my Discord, come hang with the dudes. But other than that, I hope you guys have a most excellent day, an amazing week, and I will see you guys in the next video, okay? Take care, ta-ra.